Hello everyone, welcome to another video, and today we are going to create this wonderful searching page. Okay, so it's pretty simple. You just have to type what you want to search here. So let's say Dominic, for example, and it will appear here. And if you want to search for the email too, you can type Dicton and then it will appear too, and the phone number work as well. So it's a pretty simple logic, but if you don't know how to do it, maybe it's not that simple, okay? So today I'm going to show you how to create this example. So let's start it. So I just created this simple example, okay? And what we have here is just a reload word and a search data, okay? Here we have all the content that we are going to search for, okay? And I got this data using a simple generator. So if you want to use the same generator I used, you can just type generate data, and then it will appear is this first one, okay? So you just have to choose what you want, choose JSON in our case, and then generate, okay? It's pretty simple to use. You can generate your own data too. We will use Tailwind to style our page, okay? And now let's start creating, okay? First, let's create an input here so we can receive the text. And if I save it, it will stay blank because Tailwind just clean all the styling. So let me just put some border and border gray 500. So now we can see it, okay? And we will need this search bar, and then let's just prepare the data that we are going to filter. So let me create a div in here, and now we are going to get the search data, okay? It will import here, and now let's map through all the data. So I will type map, and then we'll get the data and an index. Let's create an arrow function, and then it will return a div with the key of index. And now we can get the name. Let's type data.name. Now we can get the name, and here is the name of all the data we got in the search data. And now let's get the other things, the phone and the email. So all of them are here. We are going to add some style, and then we are going to implement the search functionality, okay? If you don't want to see the styling, you can just see the timestamp and jump to the search functionality, all right? But since we are using the Tailwind, it will be very fast. Let me just add a purple background, and now let me add some space so the IntelliSense works, and let's add some min height of 100 VH, okay? Let's put everything inside a div so it can work like a container, okay? So this div will be a container, and now we'll put max width of 5XL, and then MX auto. So you put margin left and right automatic, and then it will centralize, okay? Let's keep adding a flex, and then a flex column, so we can centralize it and justify center and items center, okay? So now we are centralizing the content. All right. Here in the input, we are going to add autocomplete off because I hate it. And let's add a placeholder of type your search. Okay. And now it will appear in here. All right. And now let's add some other classes in the search field. Let's add width full and height full. Okay, so we'll push to the end, and if I make it larger, it will be centralized. Okay, let's put rounded MD, so the borders will be rounded. And now let's add opacity of 80 and padding of 3. So now it looks like this. So it's much better than it was before. And now let's add some styling to this data that we are getting. So let's type a grid, and then grid calls 3. It will be in 3 columns, and then a gap of 4, so it's 16 of gap, and a margin top of 28 pixels, and width of 100%. Okay, so now it will stay like this. And now let's add some boxes to each cell. Okay, so in here, let's add a class name, and then BG gray of 100. Stay like this. Now let's add some border radius of MD. Let's put some shadow to make it beautiful. Let's add a color to the shadow. It will be purple of 800. And let's add some break words so we don't have problems with the grid system. Okay, so if the word, if the email, for example, it's bigger than the box, it will break. Okay, it won't overflow. And let's just add some padding in here as well. Okay, so as you see, here is breaking. If I remove this, it will overflow. Okay, so in here, let's just put some styling in the text. So I'll make the text large, the font semi-bold, and the margin bottom of 2, that it will be 8 pixels. Okay, so you can see the name better. Okay, and the phone and the email will be the same classes, so just type text SM, so make the text smaller. All right, and guys, I just love the Poppins font, so I'm going to add it here very fast. Come on. So let me put it here. This is just the code that you can get from the Google Fonts website. Okay, and now I'm just going to call it here. Okay, so let me type HTML and font family of Poppins and sans serif. Okay, now it's with the Poppins. Let's continue. And now we are going to add the search functionality. So the first thing that we need to do is get the content of this search box. Okay, so if I type anything here, I need to put this somewhere. Okay, so we are going to use a state. Okay, so let's create here a state called search, and set search. Let's type use state. Let's put it in here. So this state is going to get all the information that we type in this input field. Okay, so to do this, we are going to create a const update search, and it will be equal to an arrow function. And now we just set the search to something that we are going to get in here. Okay, so first of all, let me call this function in the input, so on change. So every time that I type anything, it will trigger this state. And now I'm going to put update search. So this update search is going to return an event. And from this event, let me show you what we are getting here. So console log E. So every time I type anything, so if I put NA, I will get this object, okay? And if I open it, I will find the target, and in the target, I will get the value, okay? So I just have to navigate to this value. So let me put in here. If I put e.target.value and save it, let me open the DevTools again. And now let me close this, come on, close this. And if I type anything else, it will only show what I am typing. Okay, so this is perfect. So now I'm going to set search to this e.target.value, right? So let me just erase here, e.target.value. So search is getting all the data that I'm typing here. So now what I'm going to do with this data. In JavaScript, we have two important functions to work with arrays, okay? So we have map, that you probably already know because we need map for everything in React, but we also have filter. And with this function, we can always filter what we want to get from the array, okay? So let me just put it here just to make it easier. And let's type dot filter. And the structure is very similar to map. So we are getting a data, okay? And let's put an arrow function in here. And now I have to put the conditions that I have to check before I return the data again. If it passes the condition, it will return this data, okay? So the first thing I want to check is if this field is empty. So if search equals to empty, I'm going to return all the data, okay? So let's just test. It will return nothing, okay? Because I just forgot to put the initial state of the string. So let's put this, and now everything is working. If I type anything, it won't return nothing. But if I put it empty, it will return all the data, okay? So now let's check if what I typed is equal or similar to what we have in the data, okay? So else if data.name includes the search. So if the string of search is in some place in the data.name, it will return this data, okay? Not yet, now it will return this data, okay? So let's test it. If I type Dom, it will appear Hassad. If I type Dominic, it will appear Dominic. But if you pay attention, it's case sensitive and we don't want that. So to do this, we have to compare the two strings being all uppercase or all lowercase, okay? So I will choose lowercase. So let me just put it here. Two lowercase, the data name and the search as well. So I'm going to compare like this way, so I don't have problems to case sensitivity, okay? So let me save in here, and now let's try to type Dominic. Okay, now it's working. Sydney, all right, it's working only for names, but if I want it, I can just select all of this. I can just duplicate this 2 times and change this to phone and change this to email. And phone case doesn't need to verify if it's lowercase because it's all numbers and we don't have lowercase numbers. Okay, so now if I type here Ticketum or 383, so now we can search for all the 3 strings of these cells. Okay, and if you stop here, everything is going to work just fine. Okay, but let's imagine that you are using a paid API or some database that you pay for requests. Okay, you are going to waste probably a lot of requests because this search functionality is not optimized. So let's imagine that each time you make a filter, okay, it's going to make a new request. So let me type here new request, and if you open your DevTools, you see every time I type here Dominic, okay, it's going to make a new request. So how can I optimize this so the user doesn't make unnecessary requests? So to do this, we need to set a timer in these requests. Okay, so first of all, let's create some other states that we are going to use to implement this functionality. So let's create a const search timer. Okay, this state is going to be responsible to control the timer of our search. Okay, so let me just type here use state, and the next one is going to be a loading control. So every time you are typing, this loading will appear. Okay, so let me put here use state to false, so it understands that it's not loading. And now we are going to add some things in this update search. Okay, so first of all, we are going to set a timeout. Okay, if you never used this function, we just set a time before the function inside this set timeout runs. Okay, so first we have the function. There will be an arrow function, and after this we have the timeout that we are going to wait before we run this function inside. Okay, and what we are going to run is this set search. And if I just put like this and save it, if I type anything, of course I need to remove this, and if I type anything, it's going to wait 900 milliseconds and then it will run. But this is not what we wanted. We want to wait 900 milliseconds after the last action of the user and then make the request. Okay, so we need to erase all the others timeouts that we are not going to use it. So if a new timeout is made, we need to erase the other ones. So to do this, we are going to use this search timer. Okay, so we are going to put this set timeout inside this search timer. So let's set search timer, and then we are going to put this inside. Let me remove you. So now the set timeout is inside the search timer, and every time I run this again, I want to clean the timeout. Okay, so let's type clear timeout search timer. Okay, now every time I run this update search again, we are going to clear the last timeout, and then we are going to add a new one. If I just erase here, and now I type Dominic, okay, it's going to wait until I finish the last action, and then it's going to wait 900 seconds, and then it will make the request, right? Now to make this smooth to the client, to the user experience, let's add this loading. So anytime I start the update search, I'm going to set the loading to true, and anytime he update the search, I'm going to set to false. Set loading to false. And now here in the return, I'm going to put a condition. Okay, so I'm just going to paste this loading state, and it's basically the same thing of this structure that we created. Okay, but the difference is that it won't render the data, it only render the loading. And I made some changes to these div classes, so the loading looks beautiful. So if I type here Dominic, for example, it will appear the loading, and then when I finish typing, it will appear the search. So if I put this TO, it will appear other things, and if I type a number like 303, it will appear only the Dominics. Okay, so this is it for the video of today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you really like this tutorial, just smash the like button and subscribe to the channel so we can grow and we can keep making tutorials like this. So that's it, guys. I see you in the next video, and bye bye.